Hi everyone, Ashley here with Upside Goods. I put together a video today that I thought would be really important to share because again, I see these questions a lot on the Facebook groups that I'm a part of. And so I thought I'd provide a little insight for those who are looking to start their candle business. Or maybe even just hemming and hawing over the fact, like, do I want to do this? How much of an expense is it going to be? So I put together this video on actual numbers. I've kept track of every expense that I have put out there from start to finish today. I'm not finished, but from start to today, in regards to where I've spent money. And I tried to weed out some of the experimental costs because I really had a hard time making up my mind to begin with. So for instance, I bought like 12 to 24 vessels from like random places just to see them. And I weeded those costs out just to get a more precise and accurate number for if I found a vessel at first that I loved through experimenting, and then all the way up until now, these are the costs that I have. So without further ado, I'll let you guys know. I think that you should plan on spending anywhere between $5,000 to $6,000 to set up a really sturdy product launch. And that again is including all of my experimental costs that led me to the point of my launch of my product. So let me share a little bit of insight with that. So $5,000 to $6,000 is probably what I would plan. I definitely went over. I was at about $7,500 to $8,500. But again, I bought a lot of things that I just wanted to test and didn't actually run with. So I was a sucker for testing all of the waters because that's just my personality. So to make up that $5,000 to $6,000 that I'm sharing with you guys of actual expenses that I paid in order to launch, I broke it down a little bit. I spent about $150 on a Shopify account, website registration, domains, things like that. I also spent, I think it was around $200 for registering my LLC and business license for things in Albuquerque, which is where I'm at. Those will vary for everyone in the states and cities that you are operating in. So just to give you that idea, I also spent about $3,000 in vessels, scents, wax, wicks, basically everything that I needed for the candles for my product launch. I have in another video the exact amount of product that I launched with, but just to give you an idea here, I had 6 scents, I had 2 different vessel sizes, I used virgin coconut soy for all of them, and wooden wicks. So that'll give you a little bit of an idea there, but that was obviously the bulk of my expense, cost of goods sold for those of you that are doing your own accounting. So I will be able to recoup those costs for sure. I also spent around $1,000 in printing, shipping, labels. I added things like matches for my initial introductory orders. And those are just kind of like odds and ends things that I do marketing as another daytime job here. So I probably had a little bit of a heftier expense in some of the added touches that I wanted to do. Like the matches and things like that. So that might be a little bit more than what you're willing to spend or interested in spending. So just know that that's a sliding scale. And then I had about $500 in equipment costs. Equipment meaning like I upgraded to a Presto pot, my pouring pitchers, things like even all the way down to like the aluminum foil that I lay down onto my surfaces that I'm pouring on. I got a little cart that I can wheel from one room to the other. I got a storage kind of shelving unit. And so that was around $500, let's say to $600, but you might want to venture to say about $500 would be a safe bet. And then last but not least, I had another kind of added expense that put me more to the $6,000, again with the marketing and the extra kind of add-ons that I wanted to do to really make my launch like special and unique. I spent around like $1,000 to $1,500 for things that I either maybe didn't use or kind of trial and error I had to replace. Like for instance, I ordered a bunch of Avery labels and I didn't really like them. So that was like my own personal preference. Just kind of trial and error, but that was like labels for my shipping boxes, things like that. Again, miscellaneous expenses. So just to go through, I would venture to say about $5,000 to $6,000. 150 was for my website, domain registration, things like that. About 300, or not 300, 200 was for business registration, things with the city, things with my state and my LLC. About 3,000 for vessel, wax, scents, everything that went into the candles for my final product. About 1,000 for shipping, labels, matches, anything else that is like a cost of goods sold, shipping boxes, which is really important. Spent about 500 in my equipment for my home that I could set up and actually make the candles, and anywhere from starting at about $1,500 for mistakes that were made. That's also testing. So testing the vessels at my own home and not necessarily being able to reuse that equipment that I use. So that's kind of like all the miscellaneous things. So that adds up to about $5,000 to $6,000 roughly. Hopefully that helps you guys in getting an idea. Other price points that I want you guys to know is that I got all of my vessels from Wooden Wick. This is absolutely not an endorsement because I'm actually switching a little bit from that. But I do want to say that because my vessels range anywhere from $3 to about $5 a piece. My wax, I had 45 pound shipment. I think it was like $130 with shipping included. And then the fragrance oils that I'm using, a 16-ounce bottle ranges anywhere from $40 to $80 with Wooden Wick. So I am trying to scale back some of those costs. I have used some from Candle Science, which has been an amazing experience. Flaming Candle Company has been awesome as well. None of these are endorsements, but just to give you the price points of what I'm working with. So again, you might be able to scale down and flush a few costs out, or you could even go, I was going to say something inappropriate. I'm not going to. You could even go further and spend more on a luxury line, but this is kind of like a middle of the road point. I really hope that this was helpful, guys. Thanks so much.